Good morning, all. My name's Nick Baxter, and I am the host of today's Worcester Ambassadors podcast. And with me, we have our president in her second tenure, Julia Williams, the irrepressible Julia Williams. Before we talk about you and your second tenure as president, Julia, it'd just be really nice to kind of set the scene on the Worcester Ambassadors podcast. The podcast is the new podcast, which launches in 2026, is all about showing the local business community the great work that Worcester Ambassadors has been doing for a number of decades. And I think it's great. I think sometimes people think it's a bit of a closed club. The Worcester Ambassadors is actually a really inclusive, open club with a fantastic reputation for delivering not only great networking across the Worcester business community, but also across the community in terms of fundraising. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but I just wanted to set the tone on the podcast. I'm your host, Nick Baxter, today. And we are going to, without further ado, we'll go into what we'd like to do to start with, Julia, is to talk a little bit about you and your journey before Worcester Ambassadors. So tell us a little bit about you, because you've got some fantastic experience in leadership, not only in the commercial space, but more importantly in the education space. So tell us a little bit more about your journey, just to kind of give the viewers, I don't suspect there are many viewers that don't know you, but just in case there are, tell us a little bit about Julia Williams.
Wow, Julia Williams, my journey's been here, there and everywhere. So I started out in teaching, always wanted to be a teacher. And I think it's just that bossy element in me. And I loved it, to be honest. And I quickly worked my way up to being a head teacher, which was phenomenal. But I can always remember my first day as head teacher, sitting at my desk thinking, okay, so what do I do now? Because, everyone's looking at me for the answers. And I had my pot plant on my desk, but thinking, I don't know what to do. Anyway, I became head teacher, absolutely loved it, and then decided that actually I wanted more, which is a theme throughout my career, I suppose. So worked as an educational consultant alongside being a head teacher, and then worked with Ofsted, where I went into schools and appraised other schools. Cut that journey short, I then decided I wanted to be a mum. So I am the mum of two fantastic teenage boys now. But when I became a mum, I realised that I wanted to spend time actually doing that role. So I gave up my career in education and thought I was going to be a lady of leisure. That didn't last very long. And I soon became the owner, MD of what was Premier Places, which is now Leaders in Worcestershire, and did that. Following that, went into property development, went into then marketing, and now I work at Sterling Networks, organising networking meetings, expos. I also do leadership training with Sterling Academy. I'm a governor. Wow. I work on the independent foster panel, and of course, Worcestershire Ambassadors. So my life is certainly not boring.
It doesn't sound very boring at all. It sounds really exciting, and thank you it's really important for listeners to understand the guests and what they do, not just now, but with their journey, because everything's all about a journey. In terms of, for those that didn't know, you're in your second tenure as president now, chair of Worcester Ambassadors for the second time. Talk to us about, for the listeners out there, how long have you been a Worcester Ambassador and how long have you served on the board?
Oh my gosh, they're going to know that I'm getting old. 14 years I've been a Worcestershire Ambassador. Oh, actually, no, that's not true. 15 years I've been a Worcestershire Ambassador. And 14
Where did the extra
years
year come from?
Because I was a Worcestershire Ambassador first.
Okay.
And then decided that I wanted to sit on the board, because that's me. So
fantastic. And what was it that originally inspired you to get involved in Worcestershire Ambassadors, in that community?
When I went into business, I heard so much about Worcestershire Ambassadors. I knew they did great work. And it was a way of me getting involved within the community, because originally I hadn't lived in Worcester. I'd come from Leicestershire into Worcestershire. So I didn't really know anybody. And I thought it would be a great way to get to know the community, get involved. And here I am today.
Brilliant. And no regrets, clearly, because you wouldn't have stayed here for 15 years if there were. So let's reflect a little bit on your first term. This is your second term. You probably had one of the most difficult first terms of a chair because it came through the most challenging time, which was right at the start of COVID. Talk to us a little bit about what stands out most from leading the organisation through that period, which was pretty much life-changing for the globe, really.
Yeah, it was really challenging. I mean, when I stepped into the role, had all these great plans of all these things we were going to do, and all of a sudden the world stopped. So I think our role really was to gather people together. You know, you're stronger as a collective. We were very supportive in terms of what we did. We worked with the university and also, was it the chamber? I think it was the chamber, where we got together and we got a selection of Worcestershire Ambassadors and we mentored people who had probably just started a business or were in business and they just needed that little bit of business support. And so we were working online with them as well. And then we also set up a mental health campaign as well. So we were trying to do our best, but it was rallying the troops together and saying, look, we're all in it together and let's support them. So, yeah. And obviously then things went online, which we weren't used to.
Yeah, indeed. I know, which is just the norm now, which is the absolute norm. And what would you say you learned from a leadership perspective? What did you learn about leadership during that time that you still carry with you today?
I think, you know, as a leader, talk to the people around you. Don't carry everything on your shoulders, but you need to be a strong character. You've got to be positive and you have to be the one to lead the way. Saying that, you've not got all the answers, but be inclusive as well. And it was very much about us collaborating, really, talking, but then obviously somebody has to make the decision and you have to be decisive at that point.
100%. And I think there was a lot of uncertainty during COVID, and I think people that moved with conviction and made a call as opposed to treading water and waiting for someone else to do it. I think they were the organisations that flourished. They were the organisations that not just necessarily flourished, but they were the organisations that kind of were able to tread water and keep going, as opposed to those that were waiting for the next thing. And I think leadership, from that perspective, post-COVID, I think what you're saying there, you alluded to, is that someone's got to make the call, someone's got to make the decision. But you don't do that in isolation, because I know that board really well. You're all friends, you're all colleagues, you challenge each other, you've got professional boundaries. It's really unique from a business perspective, from my perspective, to see you. Whenever I see you all together, I'm always so impressed by the dynamic and by the synergy of that group. So talk to me a little bit about that group.
We're like a family.
No, but you know, it's so interesting because we spend so much time with our colleagues. We call our colleagues our work family, you know, our work husband or our work wife. But actually, you're not dissimilar really from a board perspective, are you?
No, look, we are a family. We love each other one minute. We really challenge each other the next minute. But I think the most important thing is we've got respect for one another. And I think with a board like that, you've got a lot of strong people there.
Yeah.
A lot of people with a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
So, but we are very respectful. And I think that the most important is saying thank you, appreciating it, because we're all doing it voluntary. 100%. And we all put in a lot of effort into that. But it's not even just about the board, is it? It's about the whole Worcestershire Ambassadors community and trying to engage with other people as well. So I'm really lucky to work with the people that I work with at the moment, even though they frustrate me sometimes.
No. Well, I was with a couple of the board members at an event at Warriors recently, and I was just, for once, actually shut up, and I was just literally just observed the way they interacted with each other, and I was thinking, you know what, the Worcester business community is in really safe hands with the Worcester Ambassadors. They have been stewarding and shepherding from a networking perspective. There's lots of different networks out there, but actually we call them the OGs, because they are, you know, they're the collective that really sit at the helm. And when they sit at the helm of someone like Worcester Chamber of Commerce and we held in exactly the same high regard, it shows the great work they're doing. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. What I'm really keen to understand around is experience, growth and lessons learned over the years. So looking back over your journey with Ambassadors, what would you say the biggest lessons for you have been personally and professionally?
You know, I think because you've got such a wide collective of people, it's understanding people's strengths and utilise them, delegating things and just working together. That's how I operate on the board anyway. I know everybody's strengths and asking them to do things and get involved. I think the problem is sometimes when you don't get other people involved, you get frustrations, and everybody wants to give, but it has to be done in the right way. And as you said, we are the stewards, we are the ambassadors, really. So we have to put ourselves at a certain level and know that we are representing the organisation at all times.
And personally, what would you say one of the biggest lessons has been? So I'd probably align that more professionally in terms of resource allocation, getting people to fulfil where they fulfil roles and responsibilities that play to their strengths. But from a personal perspective, what would you say have been one of the biggest lessons
I can't do everything. I am the person that likes to get involved, and I really am quite challenging and hard on myself at times. But I've realised just be kind to yourself. You can't do everything. And I'm not the sort of person that finds it easy to open up to people. But I think over the years, we've got some great relationships, and I've learned to open up and not carry the whole world on my shoulders. That's set me in good stead recently.
I love that. And I've done a number of podcasts and speak to a number of leaders as part of my day-to-day. And I think COVID was a really there was a lot of negatives around COVID. Obviously, there was the health and there was the downside of that. But I think one of the plus points of COVID was a bit of a reset around values, around work-life balance, around family versus work, and around mental health. And I think what happened is, and I think it was beautiful because people start talking, and one of the things about being a senior member of a team or a senior leader in an organisation is not to show weakness, historically not to show weakness, not to say when you've got too much on your plate, not to ask for help because they would all be deemed as negatives or be deemed as an attack on your ability or how capable you were. I think that's beautiful, and the more I speak to leaders around personal journeys and around personal learnings and being able to give themselves perspective and look at things from a different lens, is all around self-love and all around looking after yourself and all around sharing and asking for help. And just because you're the leader of business doesn't mean you can't say I'm struggling because I need some help, because everything is a part of you're all part of a team. So I'm really pleased that you mentioned that, but I'm more pleased is that we're able to talk about it openly without you thinking, oh gosh, people are going to think there's less impact from Julie because I'm asking for help. Everyone I speak to is saying a very similar thing, and I think that leaders, you get your credence amongst your team and the people you're leading by your style, and your style isn't just about what you deliver. Your style and your delivery is linked to how you are as a human being, and how people connect with you as a human being. So I'm really pleased that's been one of your personal lessons. And how's the organisation evolved? You've been involved for 15 years. We thought it was 14, but it's 15 years.
No, that's not true. So I've been involved in it. So Worcestershire Ambassadors has been going for 25 years. Yeah.
Is anyone there? Are there any of the old any of the members or board there from the very start, Julia?
No.
Okay, so there's no one there. Who's the longest standing?
The longest serving members would be Vince Hopkins, of course.
Yeah, Vince.
And me. We're probably the longest serving. Okay. And then also, let me go back. So we've got another member, which is Tracy Hopkins. So she is the membership executive, and she has been there forever. And she actually holds the glue.
Wow.
For all of us, really.
Yeah, for anyone that knows Tracy, she definitely, she's she's the wind beneath my wings, as the board members would say. Yeah, 100%.
She is the consistent one, so it doesn't matter which chair comes in, which board member, she is the consistent one and knows everything about the organisation. In fact, we wouldn't run without her, so she is remarkable, to be honest.
I've heard that many a time. Yeah, big shout out to Tracy for sure. So talk to me about how's it evolved. So obviously you wouldn't know over the 25-year period, but in the 15-year period of your association, how would you say it's evolved over those years?
Do you know, I think we've grown bigger, number one. The kind of initiatives we've done have been a lot more bolder and challenging, like we did the 50k walk, which is a challenge this year for 25 years. We've raised over £100,000 in a year, 12 months.
Tell us about that for viewers out there that don't know about the 50k. Tell us about
the 50k walk. Well, so this was a while ago. So it was only just one challenge within the year, but that particular year, I think we raised £120,000 in a year. And part of that, we wanted to do a 50k walk.
Okay.
which was I got involved. I should have probably trained a little bit more, but less said about that.
And you did it all in one go as well. Fantastic.
Probably should have trained, but never mind. That's another story. But we raised probably about £120,000, and that money that time went to I think St Richard Hospice.
Okay.
But what was beautiful about that is that we had over 50 ambassadors, all of us walking. I think it was the Thames Valley, was it? I can't remember, and my geography's not that good. But anyway, we all did it. It was phenomenal. So it was a real team spirit. And everyone got involved. Everyone was raising money. It was just brilliant, really. Great atmosphere. So I'd love for us to do something like that again. It was amazing.
And when's the next big milestone?
Well, oh my gosh. So I think that we're 25 this year. So probably 30 years, maybe.
So you've got plenty of time to book the...
I know. But this year, though, we did raise the £100,000 and we donated that to 25 charities. We chose 25 charities. We had over 100 applications from different organisations, and it was really hard. We had a judging panel.
Okay. What do you use as a criteria in the end?
Well, to be honest, I wasn't part of the judging panel.
Okay.
There was a criteria, but I wasn't part of that, so I can't say.
But you had 100 applications.
Over 100 applications came
Amazing.
in. 25 were chosen, and we recently just presented the check to them, which is amazing to think you can do that in 12 months.
That is amazing. Because you do lots of events, and I don't think people understand how many events you do. You probably do about 7 or 8 events a year.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, about 7 or 8 events. And I remember my favourite used to be the cricket event. I used to love the cricket day, principally because our business is in St John's and it's only a 5-minute walk. But it was always a great day. When you look back at your time, from a pride perspective, what would you say been the most proud? What you're most proud of in your time as an ambassador?
Wow, do you know what? That's a big one. That's a really challenging one, to be honest with you, because I'd say, and this isn't a cop-out, I'm just proud to be an ambassador, and I'm proud that in 25 years we've collectively raised £1.5 million.
Wow.
And that's gone back into the Worcestershire community. So for me, that is the standout. Each year on year we raise lots of money. This year for our ball we raised £60,000 for the ball. Wow. So we do that, but we don't do it alone. But I think collectively over the years, that's a phenomenal amount. And that's an awful lot of support to give to, the local community. So that's what I'm proud of, really, of us all together doing that.
I love that. That's a great answer. And what I'm keen to understand is being part of Ambassadors. What's it taught you about Worcestershire as a place to live, work and do business? Because at the start of the podcast we talked a little bit about the fact that you were commuting into Worcester from Leicestershire, so you didn't have apart from your immediate supply chain, immediate business contacts in your business, you wouldn't really have known a great deal. So what's it taught you about Worcestershire as a place to live and work and do business from an ambassador's perspective?
Worcestershire to me is a wonderful place to live. The people are welcoming. They welcome me, but in general, we're so welcoming. Everybody knows everybody. From a business perspective, it's a safe place to live. I can't see me living anywhere else. And, the business community, all of a sudden, they're your friends, and it's just wonderful. So I'm really proud to be part of Worcestershire now, and I do class myself as part of Worcestershire. I'm here to stay, not leaving. And it's also, do you know what? We're never too far away from the countryside. I'm from Birmingham originally.
Yeah, snap.
It's great.
Yeah,
great places to eat as well.
And they're getting better. Worcester really putting itself on the map again as part of the reset from COVID. Every high street took a bit of a battering in the UK. And I know the bid. I don't know if Worcester Ambassadors have much to do with bid, but I know independently, our business improvement district has really turned things around to make it an attractive place. We've got lots of really big franchises coming into the city from a retail perspective, both culinary and from a retail. I agree. I'm Birmingham as well, and I can't think of anywhere better to. And I love Birmingham. Don't get it twisted. I love Birmingham, but Worcester is a fab place. So let's just talk a little bit about this second term. As you begin your second term,
Wow, I
And we've
know.
talked a little bit about the first term. We've talked a little bit about that, your growth and your journey as part of ambassadors and leading the ambassadors. We talked a little bit about the team and the fantastic culture you've got. What do you, as you begin that second term, what do you hope to achieve as chair this time round, Julia?
My second time round, it's simple, really. Well, we launched this podcast. We've got a new event coming up, which is the Worcestershire Ambassadors Race Day, which is very exciting indeed. We're taking over the whole of the course. But it's not just about the events. I want to leave a legacy. I want to make sure that Worcestershire Ambassadors is here to stay for another 25 years and beyond. So for me, it's about raising perhaps the profile of the people on the board, but also encouraging the younger ones to come up, because I'm getting old, Nick. I'm getting old. I need the younger leaders to come up, step up, and, share their knowledge, share their ideas with us. Because I remember when I first joined the board, I was scared. We had these really established business leaders there at the time, and I thought, there's little old me. And now it's time for the next generation to come up and show what they can do.
I love that. And you know what's really interesting, because the next time that next generation come up and are willing and or ready to step up, you'll know what it was like for yourself. There's one thing I really love about ambassadors, and it's really inclusive. It's just an inclusive group. And it's really weird because it has the allure of high-level business people across Worcestershire, creating a business community to help each other and the community as a whole. But it actually also has a really inclusive club feel to it as well, which is amazing. One of the things I think is amazing about Worcester Ambassadors is that every time that you are inducted as a Worcester Ambassador, there's a photo, there's a certificate, and it's a really big thing, and it's not a closed club. It's really nice because you've got the tradition and a legacy, and you've got the traditions of a club like that, but actually it's really inclusive. And I remember when I was inducted, I think it was at Crown and Sandys. I used to do them at Crown and Sandys about 6-7 years ago.
Yeah,
I remember I've still got my certificate in the. I will show you the certificate in the office, but I've got the backdrop, the backdrop of my second office for the podcast. Thank you for letting us know a little bit more about what you wanted to do there in the second term. What are the key priorities? Talk to me about the key priorities, because we've got our county agenda in terms of what we're doing with the LEP and with the Chamber of Commerce, and how the business community is rallying to deal with some of the socio-economic and political challenges that we've got at the moment. What do you see the key priorities are in terms of driving the organisation forwards, not just ambassadors, but the county of Worcestershire?
I think we've got to work together, to be honest with you. We've got to work in partnership. Worcestershire Ambassadors over the last few years has been working quite closely with those different organisations, and including the university as well. And we've just got to keep that going, because we can't do it alone. And I think we've got to share information with each other and use each other as a support to lobby and improve things, really. And also to listen. I see so many organisations that have ideas, but what are we doing? Are we actually listening? Are we actioning what the community needs and working towards that?
I really love that. The collaboration. There's a couple of things that have come out of the last 5 years worth of business data, collaboration, partnerships, and I think the university. One of the big things there was always been the big businesses in Worcester. You've got Bosch, you've got Sanctuary, you've got the university, but the university have been doing some simply amazing things, and I hope that the landscape's changing for education with AI and with learning and with choices at 16 to 20. This landscape is changing, and I think that universities will branch beyond the normal 18 to 24 age group, and we'll be moving into the commercial space, because one, with AI and information technology, there'll be some upskilling, and it will do it in a very different way, because education will be changing like a lot of different landscapes. And I think the closer we are to the university have always been pivotal in a number of developments in Worcester. We've grown with that university over the years, so it's really nice that you mentioned the university. How many of the senior guys at the university are ambassadors?
Oh my gosh, I think we've got about 3 from the university. Brilliant. What we've been doing with the university is actually using ambassadors to go in to do seminars, lectures, and providing opportunities for the students to give them that real life experience, and that's worked so well, both from a student perspective but also for us going in and sharing our knowledge, really.
Yeah, 100%. And they need to, and education establishments have always been privy for keeping things internal, staying in their own little bubbles. This is the bubble needs to burst, and everybody needs
definitely.
to,
For me, for me, I've come from an educational background into business, back to education. I ping pong, so I truly understand. But it's so important for us to bridge that gap and learn for each other. And like you say, the landscape is changing. And so we have to change with it and provide what the next generation needs. Not what we think they need, but what they actually need by listening to them.
So true. And it's really nice. There's a nice segue, actually, because we talk about what the next generation needed in terms of legacy. As with Ambassadors entering its 25th anniversary year, as we've touched upon a couple of times today, what legacy would you like to leave during this milestone period?
Oh, wow. Gosh, that is a big one. I should have thought about this. You know what? My legacy is that I just want Worcestershire Ambassadors to continue to raise funds, continue to do good work in the community. And I think my legacy would be to make sure that it's going to be here for another 25 years by putting in processes within the leadership of the board, but encouraging younger ones to step up and be part of it. So whether that's being on the board, whether that's getting involved in initiatives, I want them to step up. I want to encourage them, actively encourage them to get involved.
Oh, that's a fantastic answer. And I suppose the one of the last couple of things we'll talk about. I want to talk about future outlook. What do you think? We've talked a little bit about the legacy. We've talked about 25 years of Worcester Ambassadors. We've talked about your tenure, 15 years, second time round as chair. What do you think the next decade looks like for Worcester Ambassadors?
Well, for me personally, I'm going to get older.
You and me too?
I think Worcestershire Ambassadors will grow on to be bigger and better. I think that we do a lot of events. I think the types of events that we may change slightly, but we'll still have the steadfast one. But I think we are going to get more involved. I think we're going to get more businesses involved. And I just think I wouldn't be surprised, actually, if we probably double our membership in the next 10 years.
I would definitely agree. I would definitely say I'd mirror your sentiment. I think the power of collaboration and partnership for Worcester Ambassadors is the future. I think you've already got them. I think they'll be solidified, and I think they might even be solidified, from a elect perspective there, because the work you're doing is just so pivotal. The respect you have, it's fair, it's inclusive, it's a perfect body to move into other areas, or the perfect collaboration for different areas, education, commerce, and also the fantastic work you do across the community. How much money have you raised?
£1.5 million.
25 years.
25 years.
Outstanding. So, in terms of closing then, first of all, thank you very much for taking your time to
You're welcome.
take part in this podcast. The podcast is going to be amazing. If you could describe your vision for your upcoming term in just 3 words, what would they be?
My vision, the 3 words that I would probably use is collaboration, fun. What's the third one going to be?
Collaboration.
Collaboration. I want us to have fun, because that's the most important thing.
100%.
And unity, like that.
I love that. Yeah. I really like that. There's 3 words: unity, fun, collaboration. Worcester Ambassadors is amazing, and it's amazing. What's going to be great about the podcast is that we're going to share and spread the word of Worcester Ambassadors. So for people that don't know about Worcester Ambassadors, anyone that's involved from a business perspective would like to get involved, you can come to the event and find out a little bit more about Worcester Ambassadors. You can get a feel for the people, the culture, but more importantly, the great work they do. Not just the networking, not just sharing and making sure that people in that network are looked after and felt part of the inclusive business community, but also some of the fundraising and the charity work that you do as well. So I'm really pleased to have been asked to host today's podcast. Thank you very much for being a fantastic guest, and I wish you all the very best for your second tenure as chair of Worcester Ambassadors, Julia.
And thank you very much.
All right.